back to AM Prime, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for being with us this morning. My next guest has over 20 years' experience in the event industry, but 17 years specialized experience in the wedding planning industry. In fact, one of their greatest achievements is being the only TNT-based wedding planner to be published in the UK-based magazine Weddings and Honeymoons. But this is just one side of her. She is also a homeschooling mom who has done a lot of community work and has had to face or navigate a lot of unique challenges faced by women entrepreneurs in Trinidad and Tobago. I welcome to the program this morning Miss Karen Alexander Moje. Good morning, Miss Alexander Moje, and welcome to AM Prime.
Good morning, and thank you so much for having me. I am super excited to be here this morning. And we are celebrating International Women's Day, Women's Entrepreneurship Day today. And I just want to celebrate with all of my colleagues that are entrepreneurs in Trinidad and Tobago and across the world.
Indeed, and thank you very much for being on AM Prime to celebrate it with us and with the rest of the world. You also seem like you're in a very merry mood this morning, by the way. I like the red, I like the green in the background, and the energy is very good.
Well, it goes with the territory of being in events. You just have to be in that mood like all the time.
I think I'm going to need some advice after this because I'm in black and white, as you can see. But good morning once more, and thank you for being with us. As I mentioned, you're a homeschooling mom. You're also an entrepreneur. You've had 20 years in the events industry. You've done a lot of community work. And apart from which, you still have a passion for empowering women, on working with other women and networking. Is in balancing all of this, it seems like quite a lot. Could you please describe to us your journey throughout this period and how you've been able to manage all of this?
Well, most of my years in the event industry have been corporate. Full-time since 2016, so this year would be 8 years doing it full-time. And as a matter of fact, my journey as an event planner really impacted my decision to be a homeschooling mom. So it wasn't something that I thought about before, it just kind of fell into place. And so I would say that, yes, it is a definite balancing act. I mean, I have questions coming all the time. How do you manage when you have to be on the road, you have to deal with clients? But that's the thing about being a homeschooling mom or homeschooling your children, is that you get that flexibility. And because, of course, I have my own business, I'm able to, set my schedules to be able to accommodate doing school with my kids. So my day doesn't always look like an 8 to 2 with doing school with my kids. I work it to suit, the rest of my schedule. Yeah.
But how have you been able to navigate balancing personal growth and professional growth as being a homeschooling mom, wanting the best for your children and for your family, but at the same time ensuring that your business grows, ensuring that your network grows? I mean, surely that must be challenging.
For sure. So I have had to set goals for myself. Because you get, as a wife and a mother, you get so caught up in sometimes your family, and you have your business, you have your passion, and there could be so much because you don't want to drop the ball on any. And sometimes the family responsibilities may take the priority. And so what has helped me over the time is setting goals on what I want to achieve for my children, what I want to achieve for my business, what I want to achieve for myself, because that is super important. I mean, I love to know that I am taken care of. And so the only way that I could have done that is just basically setting realistic goals. And I have to say realistic, because sometimes we can set, goals that are just way over what we are able to manage, what we are capable of. And that brings the disheartening, the disappointment. And so it's really, really important that the goals are realistic. What has also helped me is having a mentor. And so last year, that is something that I made a decision to do, and that has really just put me on a different trajectory concerning my business and being able to manage being a mom, being able to manage my personal growth. And so for me, those two things were really key in my journey as both a mom and an entrepreneur.
The thing is, even setting goals can be rather difficult as individuals may not have a sense of direction as to exactly where they want to go. They may have an idea as per the end result that they wish to achieve, but not necessarily the best way to navigate into getting to that particular end result. What advice or strategies could you share with others viewing this morning in respect to the approaches that you have been able to adopt in actually getting to that point and realizing this is my goal and this is how I'm going to achieve it?
So definitely, I would say again, a mentor. That has helped me tremendously because for me, when I went into entrepreneurship, I went in based on a passion that I had, that I didn't even know that I had, right? And so I went in based on passion. And so years, being driven by passion, but not having that entrepreneur, that business mindset. And so when I realized, okay, Karen, you feel stuck, you're not making the money that you need to make from this because now you're doing it full time. And I realized, okay, something needs to be done differently. And so for those that are looking to get into business, be their own boss, I would say definitely a mentor. That's a major strategy. It also helps, of course, having a business plan. Again, I can talk from experience because I did not have a business plan early. Again, just being driven by passion and my personality and not having a business plan, it could only take you so far. And so getting a business plan in place, having someone who's into business, not necessarily in my field, but having them look at it and guide me and making the tweaks, that really helped. Iron out some things for me. That really helped put things in place and cause my business and my journey as an entrepreneur to be smoother. Yes, there are still many challenges, but it really, I could go back and look at my business plan. I could go and see where I had accomplishment, where I didn't, and where I want to make the tweaks. So there's always it's always a good point of reference, and it helps you with the step by step. So you're not just looking at the big picture. You look at the little steps that you need to take. And as I talk about little steps, Peter, just being consistent, making up your mind to be consistent. That is something I think, especially when we're talking about social media, right? That consistency, you need it. I have seen it work for me over this past year, where you get up in the morning and you just don't feel like doing the whole social media dance. But you know what? You say, okay, I just need to, even if I post one line of something, that consistency has really, it has transformed. It has transformed it. So you see the little steps, and then you don't even realize when you reach the big goal. You realize oh my gosh, I'm there, and then you set another one. So yeah.
I think we've all had those moments when we wake up and we don't want to be consistent about being consistent. So I've learned just from this conversation thus far that you seem to have a willingness or even a want to let others learn from your journey and from your experience. That you seem to be very willing to be open about your journey to this point, and not many people want to do that. Many people say the less that others know about me and my journey, the better. Why have you chosen to adopt this attitude, this approach that is very much unique to others I've spoken to previously?
Yeah, well, that's a stance I basically take on my entire life. My husband, who's watching, would say, my wife, she talked a lot, but for me, I have seen where in my life journey, there are things that I went through that I think that if there were people that were open and really honest about what they experienced, I think it would have helped me a lot. Now, I know everyone is different, and you could give people to give you advice, and it doesn't make it, you could decide to take it or not. But I feel like people are, they're not honest, they're not open. And that's one of the things that actually, what's the word? That it's a bit of a peeve right now. Everybody's using the word gatekeeping, and they're not gatekeeping, and the word is going around, right? And we have people who are talking about not gatekeeping, but they still are, just by generally how they interact with you, how they interact, on social media, how they interact in person. And I have chosen to be different because I believe there's a lot to go around. I don't need to hold, my experiences, and so I could get farther, than another person. I just think that there's so much to go around. I don't think it's going to take anything, out of me to do it. And so I would share, with persons the behind the scenes. I would share with them my knowledge. And one of the things that I did last year is I started an Instagram live called Live at Lunch, with Time of My Life events. And it was really about sharing knowledge for those DIYers in events. If you want to join events where you can get a supplier, how to do certain things. And guess what? That has really helped me. Sharing that knowledge has helped me increase my business, because people now see me as an expert in what I do. So they would call for advice, whether they hire me or not, but it has helped. It has helped increase my revenue streams. And so I'm better for it, And I really wish that, I don't know if it's a Trinidad and Tobago thing, if it's a small island thing, if it's a worldwide thing, but I really wish that, wherever it is, that we would be a lot more open with our experiences and be willing to help others move up. So that's just the stance I take, with my life in general.
How important do you think, and by the way, good morning to Mr. Moshi. Thank you for joining us this morning. Special good morning to you. And you're lucky because he's a good listener, and that's very important as well. But
yeah.
How important do you think, especially in this society now that we live in, and just based off of the principles that you've spoken of this morning, that you've adopted, how important do you think is networking for self-marketing?
Oh my. So I have to be really honest here. Networking for me, I'm a very extroverted person, but somehow networking, I just get very, a little bit introverted. It's really weird. But it is important. You help persons that you are with to know who you are. And networking for me is not just about, okay, you go to an event and you share about your business and share what you can do. It's really about connecting with people. And that's my main thing, connecting. Even with my clients, it's connecting. It's not just selling what I have. And so, yes, I would say it's important. I think we just probably need to do it a bit differently. I know we have a lot of associations, women's associations and business associations, but I think what we may be missing is the real connection outside of our business. And again, I have seen that work for me where, because I put forward who I am as a person, and it's my business, what I do in my business, it follows after. And so, yes, it is important to answer your question. I just think that how you choose to do it is what matters a lot more.
You just mentioned something in your response. It's not just about selling your product, it's about connecting with your client, which is selling yourself and selling your brand. Can you please tell us about developing your brand and developing yourself for that client relationship that you speak of?
Well, I started this business based on, my first event, how much ever years ago, was just an in-law. They were getting engaged. And so I decided to, make it a little special, put some chocolate here. And I realized, okay, well, I like this. And then I was really introduced to it when I started to work at the Trinidad and Tobago Hospitality and Tourism Institute, which is no longer in existence. Well, in Trinidad anyway. And I was exposed to this entire world of events, personality that I didn't realize that I had, right? And so there was a lot of passion driving it. And my brand is really one of the things that I always look at when I'm trying to make little tweaks in my brand or how my image comes across. I always want to make sure that that passion resonates. That is what shows. Even in last year, I pulled aside the weddings to be able to focus on destination weddings. So I put it under Karen Moshe Wedding. And even though I wanted that to be a little more bougie, I really still wanted my passion and my personality to come forth. And so I was really very concerned about that, how I did my website, my look. I wanted to show that exciting personality. Because for me, you can't be anybody else than who you are. I can't, try to be this. It really is uncomfortable. It really is uncomfortable. And so my brand, I have, that's one thing that carries straight across the 20 years with my branding. And I guess that's why Time of My Life events came, and everybody that hears it, they say, oh, that's a nice name. And I think I've tried to change it, but it just reflects me, Time of My Life, and I love to dance. So it just, you think about the song and, so yeah, so it's just perfect for me.
No,
Yeah,
as long as you have passion, you always put 110% into it.
for sure.
That passion is there. But, I'm more so curious taking a look at your personal life as well and choosing to be a homeschooling mom. Has there ever been a point where that passion has dwindled a bit, where you found yourself a bit exhausted, probably a bit frustrated with all that you have to balance, with all that you want to achieve and all the end goals you have in mind? How have you been able to get over that frustration, if it has ever existed at all?
Ah, wow. I would not say that the passion for my business. I can't remember there being a time where the passion for my I'm like, okay, I'm tired of doing this. I don't think there's ever really been that time. But when you look at the whole picture of getting everything done, yes, definitely. And what has helped me is really stopping. That is really difficult for me to do, like pause and just take some time, really. And sometimes life works out in a way that you have to stop and take some time. But now I kind of learn how to do that a lot more. For me, my day, my husband says to me, you know, what's the point of watching TV? Because you've always fallen asleep in front of the TV. But for me, it's important that even at 11:30, I sit in front of the TV and get my time, because it's my time, it's me time, It really helps regenerate me, just knowing that, okay, I have some time for myself without the kids, not doing any work. But that took some time, because I used to practically work 24/7. Not getting a lot of sleep, which I still don't. I've never been a sleep person, but that's fine. But it's just constant working, always on the phone, dealing with clients, always doing something, with my business, doing something concerning the kids. And but I've learned to manage and really take my time a lot better. And yeah, I really look forward to just being able to. You see, as an entrepreneur, as a self-employed person, you really are everything, especially when you just start out. And so knowing how to give the business what the business needs to grow, and knowing how to give yourself that time, it really is, you really have to know how to do it. And so, just getting the support from others, getting the encouragement, having a mentor, it really helps you, and just having friends around, it really helps you know, okay, Karen, you need to take some time down, and that's important.
How crucial would you say that spending that time alone by yourself, even sitting and watching television, for however long that may be, how crucial would you say that is important to ensuring that you have a day that is balanced, you have a day that you've approached and you can say, I focused on my family, I focused on my business, I focused on myself?
I mean, I would say 100% important. Just the thought of me knowing I did this for me today, that is, I think that just helps my mind stay level. If there's a day that I don't get to do it, I feel like the next day it makes me a little more agitated because I didn't get to do something for me. And so I would say that is that's just like 100%, 100% important. Just doing whatever it is. It might be, for someone else, it might be going to take a walk. It might be reading, if you're into that. It might be just lying down in your bed. For me, it's just being in front of the TV and falling asleep watching Criminal Minds.
Good choice, by the way. Good choice.
Yeah, I love action movies. So, it balances the romance and the excitement, so it balances me, Yeah.
I've spoken to you thus far about your personal journey, your personal experience, and you've shared quite a lot. But to the point of being an entrepreneur and homeschooling mom in Trinidad and Tobago, have there been any unique challenges that you can say that you faced and you have been able to overcome?
Yes, I get the questions all the time, though. Are you sure you want to homeschool your kids? Although people know that I've made that decision. My daughter is 6 and my son is 3, so he hasn't officially started homeschooling. When my daughter, we are on that train, and I actually intend to homeschool them straight till high school, straight through high school. And so people look at me like, okay, good for you, I don't have the patience. But I think, and I think I started to share before, my journey as an entrepreneur really impacted why I decided to homeschool. And why I say that is because I felt that I took a really long time to be comfortable in just being an event planner. I went to a prestige school, I got good grades, I, went through tertiary education, got a world prize in accounting. And I felt that sometimes because of that, you feel that you have to fit into a certain mold. And I find that I'm saying wasted very guardedly, that I wasted a lot of years trying to be comfortable being an event planner. And I think I could have been further along if I was just comfortable just being an event planner. And so I think that goes back to our education system, putting a lot of weight on exams and grades and the school that you go to, as opposed to seeing how a child, the differences in how children develop, and the differences in their learning style, and the differences in their gifting. A child may not ever be good at maths, but they are great at art, for instance. And you can use that to even be able to teach them the things that they need to know. But we have to be okay with that and not, necessarily, okay, you have to get a 1 or you have to get a 2. And I'm not saying that it's not important, because as I said, I went through the prestige school and the grades and that kind of thing. But what set it in for me is that I also have a 22-year-old. And I remember he was going through Form 5 graduation. And he was doing well in IT, and I looked through the program, and he wasn't getting a prize for IT. And my heart dropped. And at that time, I knew homeschooling is definitely, I didn't have my daughters yet. And at that time, I said, okay, I have to homeschool, because I don't want to put my children under that stress of feeling like they are, or feeling like their identity is linked to the school that you go to or the grades that you get. And so, even though people will ask, if I'm sure I want to homeschool, or, how do I manage? For me, that always is like at the top of my mind, and that always determines, it always pushes me forward every day to be able to do what I have to do myself or my husband, because sometimes I'm not home. Yesterday, I had a full day out. Today, it's another full day out. And so we do it together. And of course, It's not like I have to get up at 8 o'clock to do it. I can do it at 10, at 12, at 4. Sometimes she starts at 5 o'clock. Mommy, let's do work, and it's fine. So yeah.
Now, we have to go back to Mr. Moshe here for a second because, as you just mentioned, you guys do it together, and I'm curious to know as well about having that partner that is supportive no matter what. I mean, has that been a huge plus and a huge support to you?
Of course.
Well done,
And I
Mr.
just
Moshe.
wanted,
Well done, second good partner.
and I just want to mention about today is actually International Men's Day as well. And so I want to shout out all the men, we celebrate with you. But my husband has really been an awesome support. Just imagine, having an event. I'm up at whatever time, and then I'm out the entire day. And then I get home at 2 o'clock, and he has to look at the children and not call me and be like, well, what time are you coming home? It has been a tremendous support. Like, I don't even know how I would do it. But not just, I mean, I want to give props to my husband, but they're also, and that's the thing, some of the challenges that, women entrepreneurs face it's not just women that are married or have children, because there are those that are single, that have no husband, that have no children, and they also face challenges. And sometimes not having that support system where people think that, okay, you don't have as much commitment, you should be able to do this and should be able to do that. But just the navigating of being an entrepreneur is, a challenge on its own. And so we can't overlook them. So even as we celebrate International Women's Entrepreneurship Day today, I want to really talk on behalf of the women that are not married, that don't have children as well, because, I want to acknowledge that they do have their challenges, and I want to celebrate with all of us that are entrepreneurs, because it is a road. Not a lot of people, sometimes I look at when I write, okay, I'm over 20 years and 8 years full time, and I look and I see people that did not make it, so it is a lot. It is a lot. And you just really have to just set your mind, get into, the right groups, get around the right people, and, you can make it. You can make it. So I want to encourage, all the women out there that are doing it, all of my friends, just go.
Yep. Well, I really appreciate the passion and the power associated with that passion. Ms. Moshe, as we are concluding this particular conversation this morning, your passing words, your passing advice, and when I say parting, I mean particularly just for this interview.
Yes.
This morning.
Wow. Well, I would say to my colleagues, continue. Do not stop. You may feel that you need to stop temporarily to just refresh yourself, and that's fine. But don't stop. Don't stop. Just continue on, in spite of the persons that say that you can't, or that it's too difficult, or maybe you should go get a full-time job, because yes, I heard that. And yes, for myself, I was, but just continue going. If it is your passion, yes, your passion is the first thing that will drive you. But I would say just continue. Just continue. Be encouraged. And that's what I would say to them.
You never really truly appreciate just how powerful or effective simple words like continue could be until you hear it from somebody who has faced it all. And that is rather incredible. You're absolutely right. As soon as you said the word continue, and I thought about it, I was like, that in itself is a very, very powerful statement. Continue, persevere. And Ms. Moshe, with that, thank you so very much for joining us on the program this morning. Congratulations to you on all that you've done. But more so, I think, thank you for being willing to share, to be open in sharing your experiences and wanting to push others while still navigating what, as you mentioned, it's full time. Every aspect of it is full time. So thank you very, very much for joining us this morning, and all the very best to you and to your family. And I think tonight is a good episode of Criminal Minds, so look forward to that as well.
Yes, because we have new episodes on Tuesday, right? So yeah, I think I'm going to watch that. Thank you for reminding me.
I see.
And thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
No, it's been our pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us on the program this morning. Take care. All the very best.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Well, ladies and gentlemen, those parting pieces of advice there continue. Very, very powerful indeed. We all face our challenges. It's never very easy navigating the world that we live in, but navigating the life that we choose. But as Ms. Moji pointed out, you simply have to understand your end goal, but you have to stick to it. You have to fight to ensure that at the end of the day, nothing comes in the way of you achieving that. And I'm not saying it's easy. You know, not everyone out there has a partner, a significant other, the friends or the family to support them. You may be very much on your own, but that is where you find the courage, and that is where you find the power within to fight and face it no matter what. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of AM Prime. Thank you very much for joining us for this edition of the program. And of course, to my team, Ryan Gomez-Burke and Maya Wood, thank you very much indeed for their continued support and hard work and dedication to AM Prime. And of course, to Naomi McNish for all the hard work in producing the program. To you, the viewer, you make this possible. Without you, there would be no AM Prime. There would be no WESN. So to you, and to the rest of Trinidad and Tobago, remain sweet. Let's fight for our beloved country. Let's fight for ourselves. And let's make today a good day. It's a good day to have a good day. I'm Keaton Shaw. Bye-bye.